Welcome back to The Law Show. I'm attorney Brian Dailey, broadcasting live from high atop the Law Show studios in the Windy City, Chicago on 890 AM WLS. I'm host of The Law Show, heard every Saturday morning on 890 AM WLS at 10 a.m. And I am founder of the Daily Law Firm with offices in Detroit, Chicago, and in Florida. Please call us now if you have a question about any legal area. It's 855-529-7469. That's 855-529-7469, 855-LAW-SHOW. You can also email your questions to questions@thelawshow.com. And if you're nearby a computer or you're going to be nearby a computer before 11 a.m., tune in to thelawshow.com and hit the link to watch live, and you'll see yours truly answering legal questions right now in my studio, answering legal questions on The Law Show. A couple of things I like to reiterate often on the show. Number one, my approach to the law is a very pragmatic approach. What that means is that you may have been done wrong by somebody. You may have a claim, but you have to give it thought as to whether or not that claim is worth your time and emotion and money. If you have a claim that's worth $250, although it can be very maddening to have a multinational company send you a bill for $250 that you don't think that you owe, there's really not a whole lot you can successfully do about that without spending a tremendous amount of time, emotional energy, and possibly even a lot of money. Those are the kinds of things that you may just have to grin and bear it, move on, and just deal with it. It's unfortunate that's the way that our system works. If there is something that you really think is worth your time and your money and your emotional energy, then you definitely want to contact a lawyer. And what do you want to talk about when you get to the lawyer's office? You want to find out what kind of a claim you have, and you want to find out how much time you have to bring that claim. That way you know how to make your decisions. You make a decision intelligently as to whether or not you actually want to pursue it, but you know the amount of time and the deadline that you got to follow in order to do that. So please don't wait to file your claims if you think that they are good claims. Please don't wait to find out if your claims are good claims that are worth pursuing. I can't tell you enough how many calls I get every single day from people who have really, really good claims for car accident injuries and medical malpractice injuries and breaches of contract and fraud and misrepresentation, but they've waited too long, and there's nothing you can do. There's these things called statutes of limitations, and a statute of limitation is a period of time that's been set by the legislature that prevents you from bringing your claim beyond a certain time. For medical malpractice in Illinois, it's 2 years. You don't want to wait. It doesn't cost you anything, or at least it shouldn't cost you anything, to sit down and talk with a lawyer to find out what kind of a claim you've got. We at the Daily Law Firm, and our offices are at 30 North LaSalle, Suite 3200, do not charge for the initial consultation. We'll spend as much time as we need with you on the phone, in the office, at your home, at the scene of the incident, whatever it takes for us to determine whether or not you've got something that should be pursued, and then we'll give you the advice as to whether or not you want to pursue it. And you're not obligated until you sign a fee agreement with us. And we do that because we want to know what we're getting into, and we want you to know what you're getting into before we do that. But by all means, meet with somebody who doesn't charge an initial consultation to find out how much time you've got to bring a claim. Don't blow your statute of limitations, because you'll be very upset if you find out later that you waited 3 days too long. We're going to answer all your questions right now at 855-LAW-SHOW. That's 855-529-7469. You can also email your questions to questions@thelawshow.com, and we'll be answering all your questions right now. So give us a call, and we'll help you out this fine Saturday morning. We're going to go to the phones right now. We're going to talk to Claudia. Claudia, you're on The Law Show.
Hi, how are you?
Good, thank you. How are you?
I'm fine.
Okay.
This is a messy situation. We had a builder actually renovate a home for us. He actually owned the property adjoined to 3 other lots, and he had purchased this from the bank, but we had wanted to renovate the original house, so we had him renovate it for us. Through the process...
Hello? Claudia? Claudia? Hello?
Hello?
Hi. I think we had a little bit of trouble, but you're back. Hello? Claudia? Hello? Well, we're going to try to get Claudia back. She's got a question about a builder, and those are always very messy things because builders will come in and say, I'll do this thing for you. I want you to pay me so much down. And the age-old story is they never show up again. So how do you chase them and catch them? And the nature of the builder's business, lots of people in the builder's business, and I'm not saying all of them. There's some wonderful builders in Illinois and all across our country, but there are some fly-by-night people, just like you'll find in every single profession. There's fly-by-night doctors, and there's fly-by-night bump shops, and there's fly-by-night insurance agents, there's fly-by-night lawyers. You got to be careful what you do, and make sure that you always have a lawyer working with you on contracts that are complicated, and builders' contracts and construction contracts are always very, very complicated things. So you want to be very careful about what you get into when you get into it. I wanted to talk a little bit now about how to buy auto insurance, okay? In Illinois, we've got what's called a fault-based system. And a fault-based system means that if you get into a car accident, anything that you believe you can claim as a result of damage, whether it's medical expenses or wage losses or somebody to do your chores for you, if you need a tenant care or something like that, then you have to recover all of that from your from the insurance carrier covering the other vehicle that caused the accident. Of course, if you're at fault in the accident, then that other vehicle's insurance company won't be responsible. But if the other car is at fault, you can go after the other car's insurance company and you can obtain compensation to reimburse your costs. There's a couple of caveats that are really important for everybody to understand. There's a couple of types of insurance that are really important to include in your insurance policy. And we'd be happy to review anybody's insurance policy free of charge. All you've got to do is fax them to us or email them to us at brian@thelawshow.com or questions@thelawshow.com. And we will tell you what we think about your insurance coverage and how you can improve it if you need to improve it. But there's an insurance coverage called uninsured motorist coverage. And uninsured motorist coverage is designed to protect you against losses from an accident that you did not cause when somebody who caused it is not insured. If you get hit by somebody who doesn't have insurance and you don't have any medical insurance, then you're going to end up paying all those bills and perhaps being forced into bankruptcy. And that's not a very cool thing. That's a really ugly thing. So if you buy uninsured motorist coverage, then you will protect yourself. There's also something called underinsured motorist coverage. If you get hit by somebody who causes an accident and injures you and causes you damage, if you're off work for 5 months and you have a lot of medical expenses, then that underinsured motorist coverage will serve to assist you in recovering your benefits. You first collect the amount of money that the at-fault driver has, and then you go to your own insurance carrier and make a claim for your underinsured motorist coverage. The important point about that is that many insurance companies will sell you a liability policy to protect the other driver in case you're at fault at much higher limits than uninsured and underinsured motorist coverage. What you need to do is make sure that you have uninsured and underinsured motorist coverage at the same value as your liability limits. And I recommend nothing less than $300,000 single limit uninsured motorist and $300,000 single limit underinsured motorist coverage. And of course, you will have to have $300,000 in liability coverage. It looks like we might have Claudia back. We're going to try to get her back on the phone. Claudia, you're on the air again?
Hi.
I'm sorry about that.
That's okay.
Claudia's gone again. Hello?
Sure.
Hi, you're there?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay. So should I start from the beginning?
Yes.
Did you hear what Okay. We have a home that we renovated with a builder who actually owned the properties around it. He wasn't paying subs as we were paying him to do the work, and so at the closing, there wasn't enough money. He didn't have any money to close. In order to avoid foreclosure by the bank, who was going to foreclose on him, we went ahead and paid all the bills, and so he owes us all this money, plus the fact that he didn't finish the work. He had two major things he didn't do. He didn't hook us up to sewer, and he didn't finish hooking us up to a well.
How much does he owe you?
About $150,000.
That's a lot of money.
Yes, it is. So, but rather than lose everything we'd put into it,
Right.
we were basically forced to pay it. So our major concern is, not only the money, but he has work that we paid for, but has not been done. And over the last couple of years, several other liens have been put on the house because of other work that he did not finish. So we've had to work through those things. There's still one outstanding that the bank, I guess, is trying to work through. But we would like to be hooked up to sewer, and we've already paid for it, but obviously he hasn't taken care of it.
Right.
So we're wondering if we can put a lien on his home in order to get these things taken care of and get our money back.
The answer is maybe yes and maybe no. Now, first of all, you got to sue him and get a judgment against him. All right.
Okay.
And then once you get the judgment against him, you can attempt to file a judgment lien against his home. But my guess is that this guy has a habit of doing the kinds of things that he's done with you, and he's probably got a number of judgment liens against his property already. Okay. You need to be very careful about how you proceed in this, because what you don't want is you don't want to force him into bankruptcy. You want to make sure you get a lawyer who knows how to.
And I think that's very possible.
It is very possible, but it sounds to me like he may have engaged in some manner or some degree of fraud. And when you engage in fraud and you obtain somebody else's money, you are unable to obtain bankruptcy dissolution for those debts that you obtained by fraud. So you don't want to just sue him. You want to see if the facts would support a suit for fraud and misrepresentation, sort of intentional torts, intentional wrongdoing. Essentially, you're calling him a con man who never really intended or had the wherewithal to do these things for you in any event. You understand?
I do.
And that's not an inexpensive undertaking. You need to have a lawyer that really knows what they're doing with bankruptcy and with litigation and with real estate. And you want to make sure that you find somebody who's going to represent you well. Now, what county are you in?
Lake.
Okay. If you'd like, I'd be happy to have you come into my office at 30 North LaSalle and meet with me and Brian Russell. And we can sit down and talk with you a little bit about how best to pursue your situation and your claims. I'm sorry that we had the phone trouble to begin with. I appreciate you listening to The Law Show. If you'd like to make an appointment, make sure and schedule an appointment with us at 855-LAW-SHOW, okay? Thanks for calling The Law Show. We're going to continue answering all your legal questions, but after these few short messages, make sure and stay tuned at 890 AM WLS. It's The Law Show. I'm Brian Dailey. You can reach me right now at 855-LAW-SHOW. That's 855-529-7469. We're going to take a short break. We'll be right back after these few short messages.